Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Gebo the Shaman, and today we are talking about what happens when we have Mercury placed in the 7th house in your birth chart. So yeah, Mercury in the 7th. But before we get into all that good stuff, I'd just like to let you guys know that I am a Vedic astrologer. I do Vedic astrology readings professionally, so if you want to check out all my products, courses, services, everything that I have to offer, check them out down here at gebaldeshaman.com. Alrighty, and yeah, so let's talk about Mercury in the 7th. So, so in order to understand this placement better, we need to understand what Mercury means, and then we'll talk about what the 7th house means, put them together, and create our own analysis from it. So then we have Mercury. So what is Mercury? Mercury is the planet of the intellect. So it has to do with like critical thinking and things like that, like, you know, using your brain, using your mind, using knowledge, wisdom, all that stuff to just to live in this world, to get along with others, to interact with others. If we had no intellect, we would have no way of communicating with one another. So that's also another thing that Mercury rules over, is intellect and communication. And Mercury is the messenger. So yep. And then we have the 7th house. So the 7th house is the house of marriage, the house of partnership, the house of the spouse, the partner. So and so when we have Mercury in the 7th house, like, it's the 7th house is also the house of business partners and the house of just other people in general. That's the house of people that you would make business contracts with and things like that. So people that you have contracts with. So, and that could be anything. That could be a cell phone contract, that could be a marriage contract, that could be a mortgage contract, anything like that. Those are business partners. So so then we have, like, the 7th house is the house of Libra. This is the house of peace and harmony and joining together with other people and, like, you know, building something together in cooperation with others. So that's kind of what this house has, you know, what it represents. So then we have Mercury here. So what does this say? Well, since the 7th house represents your partner, or your marriage partner, your spouse, your wife, or your husband, it really has to do with like, your relationship with your spouse will be based in the intellect. So there will be a lot of communication, a lot of and, like, the degree of communication is also dependent on what sign is here. So I recommend that everybody look at their. I've done videos on Mercury through all 12 signs, so go check those out. And yeah, I mean, it's just about like, you know, communication, intellect. Like, for example, you'll, it'll be more about like handling day-to-day life, you know, just kind of getting things done and treating it more like a business than a relationship. Like people with displacement, their partner will be just very in their head, you know, just very intellectual, very, very smart, very rational, and it's, you know, but they don't have that, like, you know, the loving side, the romantic side. I mean, they can have that. Mercury is the prince who goes around and sleeps with all the the ladies, but from my, you know, from my understanding, it's more of a like an intellectual thing, especially, well, like I said again, it depends on the sign that's here. So you gotta like look at the sign that's here, as well as the any planets that are aspecting this placement, or any planets that are actually sitting with it, including Rahu and Ketu. So yeah, so like for example, when I think of Mercury in the 7th house, I think of someone who is more concerned with like keeping the house in order, and like, you know, the finances and the day-to-day activities and things like that, rather than the communication side, or rather than the loving side, like, you know, the romance and stuff like that. Although Mercury is a trickster, Mercury is a jokester, so, you know, there can be that element of like humor and fun and play. But yeah, so it would really depend on like the sign that's here. If Capricorn is here, he's going to be very, you know, he or she is going to be very serious, very down to earth, very practical, very, very grounded, very, you know, just all about business, all about keeping the home in order, and keeping the finances in order and things like that. So yeah, I mean, it's just you know, you just gotta look at the placements. So anyway, yeah, I guess that does it for this one. You know, if you want to check out everything that I have to offer, I would recommend checking out my Qigong courses over here at patreon.com/Gebo the Shaman. You can also check them out. If you want to purchase them outright, you can check them out at gebotheshaman.com. And yeah, so we have the Astrology Certification course, we have the Ritual Magic courses. Astrology Certification course is very good for, you know, for people who are just starting to get into astrology, and, you know, maybe don't know a whole lot, like, there's always something to learn in astrology, so it's good to have that course. It basically walks you through step A through step Z of what I do when I'm doing an astrology reading. So, yeah, I would definitely check that out if you're interested. And then I not only do just the basic readings, basic astrology readings, I do readings with an emphasis on your career and readings with an emphasis on your relationships. So you can check those out as well. Alrighty, and then we have the birth time rectifications. So if you don't know your exact birth time, like down to the minute, that's very helpful. Like, because you can't have an accurate astrology reading done without knowing your birth time down to the minute. And so it's very important that it is down to the minute and not just a generality. Like, oh, I was born between 8 and 9. That's not very helpful. Oh, I was born at 8:30. Okay, well, 8:30 is one of those numbers that people round to. So, it's not accurate. So, if you have a generic birth time like 8:30 or 8:15, most likely it's not that exact. You might have been born at 8:28 or 8:29 or 8:27, not 8:30. So it's just, it's very important that you get that right. So that's what the birth time rectification does. So, and then we have the distance energy healing, and that is for, any, like, if you're struggling with your health, that can be mental health as well, emotional health, physical health, mental health, anything like that. Then I am a Reiki practitioner. I do distance energy healing, and I also incorporate Qigong practices with that and Shamanic practices as well. So it's a very healing, empowering practice that I do. And then we have the career coaching and the life coaching. So, if you're one of those people who is struggling in life and you don't know your exact life purpose, then I would recommend getting a session with me, because it's important. So once you have a direction in life to head towards, once you have a goal, then you have something to fight for. That cures a lot of depression. So anyway, guys, that's it for me, and you can check out all my products, courses, services. Everything that I have to offer is now on sale at gebotheshaman.com. Check that out. And go ahead and like and subscribe and all that good stuff too. Really helps the channel. Alright. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you next time. Peace.